believe it when I see it.
City Council regular meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. This notice is posted and pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice is hereby given that the City Council of Nassau Bay, Texas will conduct a regular meeting on May 12, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the City Hall Council Chambers at 1800 Space Park Drive, Suite 200, Nassau Bay, Texas. We call to order. There is a roll call. I believe Congress, City Council. Councilwoman Wool is not present, and obviously we wish Paula was, but this is, again, I want to mention a really great honor that our city manager, Paul Lopez, did. She's kept her picture and fresh flowers since her passing away on the last day, because we obviously got the election, we'll say more of that, but this is our formal goodbye to all of them. So, call to order, we've done the roll call, going to do the invocation and pledges, and let me intervene here a little bit. We've had 3 people call in sick: our city manager, our CFO, finance director, and the St. Paul's, minister. So, yeah, correct. So what I didn't realize, and I just happened to get a conversation with David Clark, who is the chaplain for the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I just asked him if he was able and willing, since we have a void on our invocation, would he be able to do something on the spot? And he graciously accepted. So I'd like to introduce David Clark from the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, and if you would please come on up to the podium and give us the invocation tonight. Be much appreciated.
Thank you. I am, just a slight correction, I am a volunteer chaplain for the Port of Houston for the international seafarers, so, but that's okay. All right, let's bow our heads, please. Gracious and merciful Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you so much for this this beautiful day that you've given us, Lord. We thank you for the opportunity that you give us to come together, Lord, and to conduct business, Father. And we just pray that we will conduct these items in a manner that will honor you and glorify you. And Lord, we just pray for for safety. Both in the land and on the water. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible. And let the record reflect that not Congressman Buell, but Congresswoman, the City Council Buell. The reason I said we were talking about some people who have decided to run for office, given the days have changed. So that's how in any event, here's a fun part. Like I think people know, I enjoy when we get to do proclamations honoring things, and we've got 3 tonight. And we have National Police Week that I want to do first, so Chief, if you come up, but we also have Public Works and Safe Boating Week at the same time. Whereas police officers in the city of Nassau Bay Police Department stand watch over our citizens, selflessly risking their lives, protecting individuals, families, neighborhoods, and property against crime. And whereas the Nassau Bay Police Department, past and present, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered dedicated service to the community. And whereas we solemnly remember Sergeant Kayla Marie Sullivan, who on December 10, 2019, was killed in the line of duty while serving and protecting the citizens of Nassau Bay. And whereas Friday, May 15th, is designated as Peace Officer Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service of the community or become disabled in the performance of duty. And whereas it's important that all citizens recognize the duty, responsibility, hazard, and sacrifices of our local law enforcement agencies, that now, therefore, I, Philip Johnson, on power of SPD, Mayor of the City of Nassau Bay, do hereby proclaim the week of Sunday, May 11th, Saturday, May 17th, 2025, as National. Your guys. Whereas the public works services are vital to the health, safety, comfort, and quality of life of residents and businesses of Nassau Bay. And whereas the dedicated staff of the Nassau Bay Public Works Department provide and maintain essential infrastructure and services, including streets, drainage, water, and wastewater, public facilities, parks, and emergency storm response. And whereas these services could not be provided without dedicated efforts of public works professionals, engineers, technicians, and maintenance crews who plan, design, build, operate, and maintain public infrastructure systems that support our community. And whereas the 2025 National Public Works Week's theme, Advancing Quality of Life, highlights how public works contributes every day to improving the well-being of all people through sustainable infrastructure and essential services. And whereas in the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children to gain understanding and appreciation of the work of public works professionals and to recognize the importance and contributions that they make to our daily lives. Now, therefore, Philip Johnson, I, Mayor of the City of Nassau Bay, Texas, hereby proclaim May 18th to the 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. And I'll just add an extra one is, I don't believe the city's looked any better than it has in many, many years. You guys have really done a lot to put the city to the things that have been missing, the landscaping, infrastructure. The city really looks good at this because of your leadership and your guys. So I really appreciate it. Last but not least, this is important because we even had an incident here this past week. Whereas Nassau Bay, nestled along the scenic Clear Lake Galveston Bay system, is home to a vibrant boating community that enjoys year-round opportunities for sailing, fishing, paddling, and recreational boating. And whereas boating continues to be one of the most popular outdoor activities across the country, with over 100 million Americans taking to the water each year to enjoy beauty and recreational opportunities, and whereby safety must remain a top priority, as an average of 650 lives are lost annually boating-related accidents in the United States, with 75% of those deaths resulting from drowning, many of which could have been prevented by wearing a life jacket. And whereas most boating accidents are a result of human error or fault or poor judgment, rather than mechanical or environmental issues, the U.S. Coast Guard reports that life jacket, proper training, and safety awareness are among the most effective ways to reduce risk on the water. And whereby National Safe Boating Week, observed May 17th, 23rd, 2025, serves as a reminder for boaters to prioritize safety by wearing life jackets, taking safe boating courses, avoiding alcohol while operating vehicles, and participating in safety checks. And whereas the City of Nassau Bay is proud to support the efforts of the U.S. Coast Guard, U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary, the National Safe Boating Council, local boating partners to promote safe, responsible boating in our community. Now, therefore, I, Bill Johnson, Mayor of the City of Nassau Bay, hereby proclaim May 17th, 2025 as National Safe Boating Week. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your help and really elevating safety for our city. That's how much fun.
Just a couple of words about the Coast Guard Auxiliary, for those of you who don't know. There's upwards of 40,000 active duty Coast Guard. thousand of what the part of the Coast Guard, volunteer part, our primary mission is recreation and safety, and all of the areas of the voting, education, safety, and all that. That's our present record.
If we go through the channel between Clear Lake and Johnson Betty, your office is still right there, and you can see everybody coming through. No?
Not there.
Not there? Where is your office?
Well,
Yeah, what?
yeah, it was at one time. Now, so we're
Right there? Okay. Very good. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving on the agenda, citizens' comments and public hearing. This is for the citizens. You have the ability to come up and speak for 3 minutes. And for those who want to come up, public hearing is open and it's 7:13. Joe?
First of all, let me say happy birthday to the Navy and the United States. What a great day. So, and also the Coast Guard. So I'll just share a story with you. So first I'm going to talk about the Dead Boat Society. So I'm one of the members of the Dead Boat Society. The chief has come to speak to some of our groups. So we're trying to get all these dead boats out of Clear Lake. I mean, it's a mess. And to raise a boat out of the water, it's somewhere between $10,000 to $20,000, and then having disposed of is something else. So it's really an awesome project for a 501c3, and we're at the boat show last weekend and gained about 800 votes to try to get the boats removed. So anyway, the other thing I want to mention is, and I'm glad the chaplain's here, went to Camp Hope last week, talked to them again. We had a fellow Army veteran intern and went to Camp Hope, and they were really looking forward to coming back again. So they did it we did it 3 times at Camp Hope, twice actually. This is coming up to the 3rd time, so they're excited to do it. And I was just telling the chaplain, we did the first event. We invited the Coast Guard to come in with their machine gun boat, the auxiliary to come in, the sheriff's department, so we really had safety on the water besides private vessels that came in to make sure everybody was safe. So this year we're looking at doing something a little different. Bal Harbor's offered up their facility, so we're just looking at it right now, how we do it. So, yes, thank you for asking. October 25th, 2025. Still 5 months out, but time goes by quickly. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? Name, rank, and serial number.
Of course. Arlene Phillips, 1410 San Sebastian Lane. I came here last year to talk about an increase in the senior homeowners property tax exemption. And from what I understood, they did talk about it, but it was not, for whatever reason, it was decided not to increase it last year. Okay, well, whatever. I'm bringing it up again. Anyway, the last time, it's currently at $25,000 for the exemption. The last time it was raised was in 2016, and it went from $20,000 to $25,000. Okay, since 2016, my house has had an increase in property tax appraisal of 80%. And I'm certain that I've been in Nassau Bay for 30 years, and any people who have been here in their homes a long time has seen a sizable increase. But this big increase started in 2016. I feel that when we did the Nassau Bay Comprehensive Plan, there was a section in that which also said that the number of seniors in our city is declining. And the reason I bring that up is one of the reasons that in the past that the city has used that they could not increase the exemption was because we had so many seniors living here. Well, I think that number has gone down considerably, and particularly if you look at the activities that we have for families and the enlarging of the parks, and which all should be done. I'm not criticizing that. But I think it's about time that we looked at the seniors' population, to give a better property tax deduction. There are majority of the seniors are probably on fixed incomes here. I think that's basically. Oh, also, obviously, the city has grown, I would say financially, because of the hospital expansion and the whole courtyard and all that has added property tax value to the city, and then again, to give a break to the seniors. Thank you.
Just so you know, it will be part of the budget cycle this year. Anybody else? Anybody else? Public hearing for citizens to speak up? Going once? Going twice? 3 times. It's, public hearing is closed at 7:19. Moving on to council member comments.
Oops, sorry. So I love the proclamations that we had this month, just the police safety, the public works, and boating safety. I believe those are things very important to our community, so a great month to have all 3 of those stacked up together. I want to say election congratulations to Brian Johnson as well as Chase and Sarah. I'm looking forward to the canvassing tomorrow and then getting everybody sworn in. Looking forward to working with everybody in this new council that we have going forward. It is not a cat season right now, if you didn't notice, the kids on the bikes, so please be careful. And the first mini meet is going to be this weekend, the 10 and unders, which is always really cute if you want to see that. And there's only 2 more weeks of school left, and then the kids are going to switch to riding their bikes around in the morning, so just be on the lookout for them. We love our community and love our children, so drive slow around the pool, please. I also want to say that I really like the passion around people and wanting to improve this community, and it seems like everybody has a lot of excitement to put things forward in the right direction. And just seeing some of the stuff that happened, like at the EDC, and passion for projects, I really appreciate that everyone does love this city so much that they put their heart and soul into it. Just remember to get along with people. And then finally, Troop 1966, which is out of St. Thomas here, is one of the Boy Scout troops that a bunch of our members of the city are a member of. And they actually have the flag box downstairs if you want to retire your flags, that sort of thing. The boys' troop there also services the flags at the entrances to the city. They have a flag subscription you can do if you want to get a flag put outside of your house for certain holidays like Memorial Day, 4th of July, 9/11 Remembrance Day, and then also Veterans Day. If you're interested in doing that, you can always email flags@troop1966.org and get more information about that, but I wanted to put a plug in for them, and that's it.
All right, ditto. Congrats to everybody that got elected. So, Sarah, Brian, myself, look forward to 2 more years. Also, had an opportunity to go to Keels and Wheels. That was an excellent event, a lot of fun. Nassau Bay was very well represented. Not only did we have our own tent, but at the concourse as well, it was nice to see Margaritaville and Nassau Bay together. So that was nice as well. If you have an opportunity next year, I would highly recommend it. There are so many really cool, well-kept cars there, and boats as well. Boats, very nice boats that I did not get on because I didn't want to damage anything and be responsible for that. So, nor did I touch a car. Also, curbs, still working on the curbs. That being said, it is about to be very hot. So I don't know how much I'm going to get done over the next couple of weeks or so, but that's a cautionary tale for everybody else. Don't get out there and get overheated. It is going to be very hot. I think I saw triple digits coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So I've struggled with heat exhaustion before, and it is not fun. So word of the wise, don't do that. All right, thanks.
echo everything that everyone has said. Congrats to fellow council members on the new one joining. I would say Memorial Day is coming up, so be safe, and you know, boaters out there, be safe as well. I think the curb painting, aside from Chase's Parks Committee curb painting, the curb painting in the front of the neighborhood looks really nice. Flowers are nice, so just thanks to everyone for that.
Wait, did you say aside from mine, it looks nice?
Along with yours.
Happy to be here for the next 2 years, so yeah, congrats, Chase, I voted for you. I tried to, but they wouldn't let me. Yeah, thank you, thanks. Sorry for the interruption, apparently I was holding my husband's wallet hostage in the car, so he needed to get it out, so that's why he was running back and forth with the keys. Other than that, yes, Nautica's season in full swing, and we're finishing off baseball season, so we're just running in all different directions. We're ships passing in the night, Alex and I are right now, so, but looking forward to a summer of kind of, hopefully, the kids lying in a little bit, so we can get a little more sleep. Other than that, everything's great in Nassau Bay, and everything's looking great, and proud of everybody. Hope Paul starts to feel better soon, and who else is sick? Jaime?
I've been sick for 2 weeks too.
I don't know. That's why I brought my own water tonight. I don't know what's going on up here. Okay.
As usual, I echo everyone's comments. Congrats to all of our elected officials, including Brian Johnson. Welcome aboard. Reminder that the community garage sale is happening this weekend. It looks like Christina has already placed signs out around the neighborhood. She said that there's over 25 houses or locations already, which is, I think, almost twice the amount that we had last year. The signs say 7 to 2, but I think it's more like 8 to 2. Houses vary. Also want to reiterate that summer's upon us, and be mindful of the little ones on scooters and bikes. Just please, please slow down. Good news on the Nassau Bay app update. The app was approved to go live in early May. Apple approved immediately and is currently live for download. The city will make an official announcement once Google has approved it for Android. Our app developers are working closely with the Compass Rose publisher to get QR codes for download in the next June newsletter, so be on the lookout for that. Again, we'd like to thank the resident committee and staff for all of their time and input. The app looks great and will only get better with additional feedback via a survey. Once we let the app saturate for a month or two, we're going to submit a survey out to accept feedback on that as well. And then lastly, we plan to host a quick demo or tutorial for anyone wanting a demo on the app at one of the upcoming coffees with the city manager and mayor, which I think the sign out front says May 23rd, but that might be getting pushed, so be on the lookout for that to come.
And maybe that could be recorded and put on like the city website so other
We
people
talked about that, but we might just be offering multiple tutorials.
Okay.
It's a little tricky, but yes, good call.
Wait, it's going to be iterative. So.
Yes, yes.
Yep. Okay. Hey, yeah, I want to make mention about the elections too, and I was really pleased to see the outcome of this election, because not only did it affirm Brian, who's got history being a participant on the homeowners association, but we also had 5 charter modifications, of which all 5 were not only approved, but they were approved resoundingly. So those were things that were very sorely needed. We had aspects of our charter which were just woefully out of date. So I was really pleased to see that, and I thank the Charter Review Committee for putting together and taking the time. It was really a good effort, and it shows that they were meaningful changes by how well they were passed by. Also, the Marine Safety Committee, if you haven't noticed, there's the beginning of brand-new no-wake zone buoys and signs going up. So I think they documented some 34 aids to navigation that were there that had not been replaced, and we're just guessing 30 years. And they're in really either non-existent or little small pieces of what was left of a sign. So you're going to see a whole new placarding and buoys for marine safety. So hats off, particularly to Jason Small, Jim Stoa, and the others. And with that, June 1st is coming up, folks, real quick. I said in my coffee to folks, make sure that you have a hurricane plan, an emergency evacuation. If you remember with Ike, They thought it was first going to go into Florida, then it was going to go into Veracruz, and then one day notice it was going to come into us, and you had 24 hours, and it was really, really difficult to be able to do simple things. So have a plan, be ready, because, I hate to say it, but every year that goes by where we miss one, it's just that much closer to the one we're due. So we haven't outlawed hurricane, so just please be prepared, and the other safety was with the kids. Schools are out in 2 weeks, so there's quite a number of kids now in the neighborhood, so be safe. Last two things I'll mention is just real quickly for economic development. It's not really on here, but I'll just real quick, Margaritaville seems to be on track. We're a little bit behind on the capital raising, but it's been a very, very strong period to pass with Keels and Wheels. So I think we're on track for either a closing on June 9th, or if we can't quite get there, it'll be probably June 30th. But it should be no later than that. So it's about a month later than we thought. I heard just today that the Saturn II building project has gotten informal approval by the banking, so the Griffin brothers, or the Griffin partners are moving forward with all the activities to construct the sister building to the building right behind 1,000 Degrees Pizza, the office building there, the mirrored building. So there'll be matching buildings, and it's going to be about 72,000 square feet. And with that, we're looking at hopefully promoting a new restaurant to come in. I'm going to I'm looking right at James Caldwell. I'm going to cite him or let him raise his hand. But he's a very experienced restaurateur. He's wanting to put a Tex-Mex restaurant, and the Griffin Partners is part of the redevelopment. And there's, well, I didn't see Brian, so there he is. But from that standpoint, we should also either have a restaurant in what looks to be the old Bayhep area, or half of the area which is the new strip right up on Nassau Road 1. One or the other. We're going back and forth to see what best terms we can get. But there's very good support to handle those three economic development activities. So I'm excited for all three. And Brian, stand up. Congratulations for those who have not met you. The winner of position 1, congratulations. Seriously, congratulations. And then last but not least, there will be another pamphlet in your Compass Rose and water bill for the survey for both the police department and building officials. Again, this was something that came out of the Charter Review Committee as something. There were 6 departments that will get reviewed once every department will get reviewed once every 3 years. And this is meant to look at best practices, look at what we're doing, cold eyes review, just so that a report can be given to the chief and city manager on things that a group that's skilled in these type things can show. So we're a small 5,000 person community, so we wanted to have those type of best practices and audits in order to be able to give to the different departments. And the first 2 that was chosen was the police department and the building department. I think the next one is 2 are public works and HR for the one coming up. And we'll just progress from there. But other than that, that's all I had, and we can move forward. It's going to be light because, like I said, Paul and Jaime are gone, so I'll just go Chief, Police Department.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Before I get into the PD's report, I just want to give kudos to Paul Lopez, our city manager. He was out at Keels and Wheels all day on Saturdays and all day on Sunday. And it was a good time out there. I made it out there on Sunday morning, so I think Maria was out there. So it was a good showing from the staff, and I think Saturday some of the council people were out there. I wasn't out there Saturday, so, but I know Paul would want that mentioned. So real quickly, the stats for April: 222 calls for service, 45 reports, 43 traffic stops, 33 citations, 6 warnings, 7 arrests, 6 were misdemeanors, 1 was a felony, 5,108 patrol miles, and we had 79 training hours for the department in April. Real quickly, back on the 26th of April, we had the drug take-back prescriptions, and between that Saturday's collection and what we collected the last 6 months here in the drop-off that's in the building that's available during business hours, we delivered 149 pounds of prescription medications to DEA. So, and just once again, we thank you for the proclamation. This week is the National Police Week, and that's proclaimed the week of May 15th, the week that falls in, and that was proclaimed by President Kennedy. And in Congress went ahead and established it in 1962, and this to recognize the officers that we've lost in the line of duty that have given their lives for protecting their communities, especially Sergeant Sullivan, whose end of watch is December 10th, 2019. Yesterday, myself and some of the other officers, Officer Hughes and a couple of and other officers, we placed a memorial wreath at the first responders memorial out here in Town Square. It'll be there for the rest of the week. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens. So I got a very brief report for you. We are still working through the Motorola CAD transition and getting software to compile and aggregate the call data and the metric data like we want it to. We think there's still probably another 6 weeks on that process, so we'll give you a heads up for the next council meeting if we're still in this boat. But we still are standing at 40 members. And one thing I can report, so on the first Monday of every month, we do our fire department business meeting, followed by the second Monday where I get to report to you guys. At the business meeting for May every year, we elect our officers that'll serve the term for the year, and that goes from chief all the way down through your captains, and then on the administrative side, my role as president, vice president, down through the admin chain. And the 2 positions we had turnover this year were Joe Trainer was elected to serve as vice president, so it'll be good for him. He's got a strong skill set, and we like to watch our people grow. And I appreciate Rod. It's going to mentor him and pass on that skill set. So growing our people. And then Javon Thomas had previously done our public education officer, who's responsible for planning the Fire Prevention Week activities and anything else public outreach that we do. Nick Holliday was elected into that position. So great to see what he can do there.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Thank you for that update. I'm looking here because this is here. Elias, I'm just going to go Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. For Public Works, we have our capital improvement projects. McKinney continues work on the Nassau 1 water line project. To date, 3,700 feet of line have been installed. For our water department, we had 15 meters were read for utility billing, and we had a major water leak at 2502 Swan Court. Our wastewater department, running under normal operations, 450 feet of sanitary line was jetted for maintenance and to improve flow. For our parks department, plaques were installed on the new moon trees, and for the Apollo Dog Park, the irrigation lines were repaired inside the police memorial and the Chris Reed Memorial, and also new mulch was put out. For the street department, the pumps at Stormwater Pump Station G were pulled for maintenance, and a new VFD was ordered. And then maintenance was done on the backhoe, the John Deere tractor, and our trash pumps and portable generators, just getting ready for the hurricane season, making sure we're prepared. That's it.
Thank you. And then, since we got 2 special events committee people already, Lucy?
All right, I actually have an update, a good one, because I didn't write it. First, Easter in the park was a success. We had a great turnout in the community and 25 student volunteers. And thanks to everyone who helped make the day great, the police officers, they helped with security, Nassau Bay Rocks ladies for their time and gifts that they made for the kids, the garden club for their time, and Cute Craft, Canby for helping to bring back the bonnet tradition that hasn't happened in 30 years. And of course, our fun DJ, Chad Burleson, that keeps our events entertained and does the announcements. So thank you to all the volunteers from making ideas for that day and helping that day. Anything that you guys do to help volunteer is greatly appreciated. And if you want to share any of your time with the SEC, you can email them at secnassawbay@gmail.com, or I can help you connect. Fourth of July is also coming around the corner, which is one of our huge events. We'll get a little more information as we get closer, but they're going to, again, have a parade with prizes for floats, golf carts, et cetera, in the parade. There'll be marked off areas in Glory Day that you just come show up and line up for the parade. There's going to be a cooling station for the veterans since it gets quite hot that day and you're sitting in a parking lot. So thinking about that. And there's also going to be an update to the parade route this year to help the flow at the end so everyone doesn't have to turn around at the park. They're going to swing back, and it sounds like come back to end at Howard Ward instead. So a change to the parade route this year.
That's great.
So looking forward to that. And we also put out signs in yards for veterans for the 4th of July. So if you're new to the neighborhood, you're not on the list, you want to check if you're on the list, you can also email secnassawbay@gmail.com, and they will double check that for you and make sure that we get everybody accounted for.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to reiterate something on what you said. Citizens, please be our eyes and ears for veterans. If anybody that you know of, sometimes without any oversight, people just don't know who's all out there. So please encourage any veteran that you know to speak up and contact special events so that we can make sure they're honored during that period of time. There's people we do not want to miss. Thank you. And Parks and Rec is not here, and they will not be presenting. Jim, I don't know if you had anything. I didn't see anybody else on the maritime safety. You going to talk? It's your time.
Thank you. So, Jim Stoll, again, been resident for 40 years. So I really like what we're doing with the Maritime Committee. Finally, getting some organization about the waterways. I mean, it's been interesting time, and with more and more as the city grows, we're going to have more and more boat traffic, especially league cities, getting more people are going to come in this direction, and Margaritaville coming in. So one of the things that happened before the Marine Advisory Committee got started was the Nassau Bay, the city of Nassau Bay came up with, what do you call it again? The city of Nassau Bay came up with a terminology that I wasn't familiar with.
In regards to?
To the rules and.
The annexation?
Let me forget about that. So anyway, but I think what happened was before we formed, so the signage got changed along the Upper Peninsula. And then I was watching comments on Facebook, and most of the people liked the idea we were changing it. A few knuckleheads, well, different people that said, no, I don't like it. I don't know why the city can have all this power. But I think if I'm correct, we own the waterway through here, so it's a residential community. It's not like Clear Lake, which is no way.
So just to be clear, we have annexed the waterways
Yes.
up to Galveston County, which is split between Harris County
Right.
and Galveston County.
But
down
you don't
Clear
own it.
Creek.
You don't own it.
I was just going to say, we don't own it. We're a incorporated city, so we
Right.
can write ordinances
Right.
and resolutions
Sure. Thank you.
regulating that
Thank you.
area.
Yeah.
State of Texas
Right.
technically owns it.
Yeah, I get that part. So anyway, so I just thought it was interesting that the comments coming out of Facebook were so in line with people wanting to have it slowed down because it can be dangerous. And I think that more and more markers are coming out. So I saw some markers out in the water today, and I think they'll have to be
Putting the
adjusted a
buoys
little
out.
bit.
Yep.
Well, yeah, buoys. Anyway, so they're coming out. I think more will have to come in the later, too, as we look around the area. I think they call it aids to navigation is probably a different term, right, Captain? He says, yep, yeah, aid to navigation. There you go, I like that. So, and I like the fact is, as we got started with this Maritime Committee, we didn't have all the information, so I appreciate the chief reaching out to the Coast Guard, whoever, we got more information about additional accidents we didn't have when we got started, which is important to have all that information before we start voting on things. So now, with the chief's help, we've reached out to, was it the Coast Guard and Parks and Wildlife, I think? Both, yeah. So we got additional information that accidents have happened on the lake and the creek. And as a guy that goes to the dog park all the time, I see all the activity around there. It's really kind of nuts. So I invite anybody, if they want to come down and see some action, after dark, come down to the Nassau Bay Park and just watch it. That's all I have, sir.
I'll just add, there's 34 actual aids to navigation that are going to go up from what I came across, including buoys and, the actual
Big signs
placards,
that say,
big
"Welcome to
signs.
Nassau Bay."
And
Sure.
they're planning to all go up this week.
Yeah,
So I
that's
think
good.
they put out the buoys today, and then they're kind of leaning sideways a little bit, so we got to
Yeah,
put a heavier
but, you know,
chain to
that's
get
the way
them
it
up.
works. But people will see it.
But no, there's no question, it's going to have the effect, and that'll really help out the police that they had a real tough time doing what's an excessive wake. And
Yeah.
I think it'll do that.
The
And,
terminology is better when it says no wake.
but I mean, at the end of the day, I think what we've seen is, particularly in our residential areas, that League City's gotten so big with like 130, 140,000 people, that just the fraction of that comes and they know us as a destination for their recreation. And they believe that's a park. It's actually a recreational park. And it's not zoned that way. And over the last 15 years, we've had the creep of where, you know, residents who are there thinking it's a residential are now having to deal with a recreational park. And we're trying to get that under control.
So as I look
it's
at
that
the,
simple.
as I look at the League City website, they've got Lake Nassau Band, one of their cover sheets, which I think is good.
Yeah, so,
So we're-
anyways,
you know, we're next
the
door
Maritime
neighbors.
Committee is doing that. I wanted to
Yep.
give them a little extra plug.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, moving to a public hearing. This is a public hearing in connection with a term extension of and an amendment to the project plan and reinvestment zone financing plan, the plan for reinvestment zone number 1, City of Nassau Bay, Texas. The zone. At the hearing, all interested parties may be heard regarding the proposed term extension and plan amendment. And I would like Sue Darcy to just give a little bit of a background here for the citizens in case they want to ask any questions in the public hearing. And again, this is a public hearing, so this is rules that allow people to talk back and forth. So I want to do that. And it is 7:43. Public hearing is open.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, my name is Sue Darcy, and I'm a consultant to the city with regards to the tax increment reinvestment zone. This plan amendment does two things. It extends the life of the zone for 30 years beyond its current term, and based upon that new longer term for economic development activity and promotion, it increases the amount of eligible projects that can be done in that term. That would help the city pursue its vision for economic vitality, economic development projects, partnering with the developers, as we are with Mr. Griffin, and improve city infrastructure, community enhancements, parks, trails, beautification projects, whether through the city doing it on its own or partnering with the private sector to do public-private partnerships. It should be noted that there are two things that remain in councils. That structure, by the way, is intended to make the city in charge, and the city have all of its ability to be as flexible as possible, looking out for the duration of the life of the zone, and have the flexibility to deal with the development community in many ways. Secondly, the two things that remain in place that the city can protect itself with regards to the term of the zone, it can always be shortened, subject to the obligations that the zone has to repay people or pay bonded debt. And also, the city can diminish its participation rate in the TERS to go from, right now they're participating at 90%, they can scale that back during the same time. That's all available to the city right now, but the legislature meets every other year. And every other year, we're at risk for those rules being changed. So I think the mayor has been very forward-thinking, and council as well, from the workshop that we had back in April, that the pursuit of the city's vision to improve yourself, continue to make yourself a beautiful city and a community-oriented place to do business, I think the plan amendment preserves that for the longer term as you look out for your new future. That's it, Mayor.
Yep. And I'll chime in here, as I am pushing the time frame of this forward. Wanted to accelerate it and I think, council has encouraged me to do that too. For the citizens, the reason why we're doing that is, we have very, very strong goals around redeveloping some of our old, dilapidated, past their useful life, I believe is the proper term Sue has educated me on, that are primarily on the waterfront, not exclusively. And the legislature this year, it's pretty clear that the folks in Austin may want to take these tools away from local governments. And so we are wanting to make sure we extend and have that available to us. Like Sue mentioned, we can always, end it, terminate it, minimize it, or whatever, but if they take it away, we can't ever grow it, extend it. It takes away one of our avenues. So from that standpoint, we're protecting the ability for us to have what we're calling the Phase 2 of our redevelopment. We are the benefits in this building of Phase 1, as well as this whole area in between. And we're going to take action regarding protecting that. The other is by doing a Phase 2 for another 30 years. First one was 30 years. This is extending it 30 years for Phase 2. Is it allows us to aggregate serious funds to be able to be a player to help affect that redevelopment. That's over the lifetime, we believe even in today's dollars, it'll be probably over $80 million that we'll be able to amass in order to be able to affect change there. If you look over the whole life, it's even bigger than that. But in any event, that doesn't come at any property tax, any increase, things along that line. What we're doing is preserving the value of the tax rate for this zone since 2007, I believe it was. So it's really not going to change anything that the city citizens see, but it'll allow us the economic horsepower to be able to affect change, even doing things like helping a restaurateur locate in our city. So that's what we're doing, and that's what we wanted to have this public hearing to make sure everyone's aware of the why and the what we are doing. I don't know if anybody else wants any comments. Any questions? Any comments? This is a public hearing. So for the areas that are designated, it's our commercial area, it's not in our residential area. The tax rate for these properties were locked at the 2007, or you're the more technical person, before I make a mistake.
TERS works like this. In the year the TERS is created, that the value of the area, the taxable value, is established as the base year value. Every year after that, the base year value the city still gets. The taxes come to the city, they're that. The growth that happens by virtue of inflation or developers doing new things, that added growth is what goes into the TERS. And it's out of that growth that we repay the developers, we pay for projects, we do all of that. So the base year value is set, and it runs for the whole life of the zone. And this growth in the development and values go back into the TERS or are used for TERS projects.
Give an example, the value, and you may not know it exactly, back in 2007, for what was redeveloped, do you remember what that number was?
Yes, the base year value in 2007 was of the whole commercial area was $107 million.
And what is it now?
It's $230 million, roughly.
So this economic development has created 100,000.
130 million.
130, yeah, of increased value, which goes into the TERS so that we can affect.
And what that has done is there's been about $15 million worth of infrastructure that was needed to reconfigure this area. So it's gone to pay for water, sewer, drainage, and
Roads,
that.
yep.
That was funded by developers. Not, the city didn't have to sell bonds for that, developers, and we've paid the developers back for that. So that's how it works. The people who want to do things, whether it's the environmental remediation and all the old white buildings that were there was almost $4 million. So those kind of things are what the TERS pays for, and that's what allows the developers to come and do things like bulldoze 8 buildings and then rebuild it up.
So if this was not done, and it sounds like a good thing that it is being done, but if it was not done, we would still be at the baseline, so the additional would just not be collected. Now, you're saying, oh, with the additional collection go to the city.
So right now,
Any other questions?
I think I do, and I'll answer it how I think you asked it. But it actually makes it into like the base is part A, and the increment that you've increased is Part B. At the end of when the TERS ends, the city either has projects that they use to expend it, like we've done, or we can get it back.
But if this was not passed, with the,
We wouldn't, yeah,
it would just still be at the base. There wouldn't be an increased.
Wait, let me, when we did the zone in 2007, there's this finding in the statute that you have to determine that, but for doing the TERS, your values are not going to grow. And we had plenty of proof that the values weren't going to grow, because the value in the TERS from 1984 to 2004 had declined by 30% over time. It had actually dropped in value. So if you had done nothing with the TERS, you were not going to have new value. The value was continuing to drop. And there was no reason what anybody was going to come, because there was no mechanism by which developers could have come in and afford to demolish the buildings. Nobody could do it on a wholesale basis. So at the end of the life of the zone, what happens is all of the value then comes into the city. But if you hadn't done the zone, you wouldn't have that new value.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
this is
test.
how you create the mechanism to affect the redevelopment. Yep, yeah.
What
Correct.
what is the current term of the TERS?
It'll end in, the current term.
Yes, but if we don't extend, is what?
2037.
Okay, and so there's some concern there's some legislation or something that we're worried about
Yeah.
that's currently in there,
The
or?
TERSs are reviewed every legislative session, and the legislature fiddles with them every legislative session. So there are sometimes movements afoot where they want to truncate them, they want to, do things where you can't issue debt. That came around one year. There's been a term where you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the management district, if that ever dissolved, we would not be able to get it back because they don't allow that. So these are tools that are
Right.
available.
They are, sometimes economic development is very popular with the legislature, and sometimes it's not. And so you just never know in any given session where the restrictions are going to happen.
But these are currently under attack.
Okay, so that's why the now.
That's why the now.
Because I'm like, 12 years from now, we're going to have a completely different,
So
presumably the different people on TERS, different people.
Correct.
And so we're kind of taking that out of the hands of them to making this
Well,
decision.
actually, the TERS is councils to govern ultimately. You
Right.
make the decisions. But what you have done is you've created the TERS board, and you have a local government corporation to administer that board, so that if the city does ever want to issue debt, it's not the city issuing the debt, it's the redevelopment authority that issues the debt. So we've done everything to kind of insulate the city from liability on one side, to give the city the ability to be very flexible in dealing with developers, to maximize the partnership there, to have developers come in and know that they can get their deals done, and that they can get their infrastructure built and get paid back for it. That's the give and the take that is at the local level. And sometimes the state people don't see that. That's just.
And currently, if you look at it, the whole thing around restrictions on what local governments can do
Right.
is being more and more aggressive. We've seen them on everything from, ADUs, STRs, you're looking at curfews, there's a whole range of things, and this is one that's coming under attack.
I'm
And
assuming we'll hear more in our legislative update soon. Okay, I was curious about, are other
That's the
cities,
reason.
are we finding, I'm assuming you work with other cities, but are you finding that other cities are extending their TERS as well right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's an across-the-board issue. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Those are great questions. Thank you, Mary. Anything else?
I'd like to thank Ms. Abraham for asking questions that I also needed answers to.
Going once? Going twice? Then the public hearing is closed 3 times at 7:55. Moving on. This is, pardon me? The consent agenda, yeah, moving on to the consent agenda. Agenda number 9, this is 4 items, including the consideration and possible action to approve the minutes of April 14th, 2025, City Council regular meeting minutes, November 20th, 2024, Economic Development Corporation minutes, February 24th, 2025, Economic Development Corporation minutes. The additional item is the consideration and possible action, resolution number R 2025-05-12-1, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nassau Bay, Texas, adopting any annual anti-fraud policy designed to enforce controls and to aid in the prevention and detection of fraud, theft, waste, abuse against the city. That's an annual thing we do every year. It's a housekeeping. And number C, which is consideration and possible action, resolution number R 2025-05-12-2, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nassau Bay, Texas, adopting an annual investment policy in accordance with the Public Funds Investment Act and the Public Funds Collateral Act. Again, this is a housekeeping we do every year. And then the last one is consideration and possible action, approve the Economic Development Corporation, EDC, mid-year report. Are there anything here we would want, that anybody would want pulled out from the consent agenda? Then I would ask for a motion.
I would move to approve the consent agenda items A as is, item B, resolution number R 2025-05-12-1, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nassau Bay, Texas, adopting an annual anti-fraud policy designed to enforce controls and to aid in the prevention and detection of fraud, theft, waste, or abuse against the city. Consent agenda item C, resolution number R 2025-05-12-2, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nassau Bay, Texas, adopting an annual investment policy in accordance with the Public Funds Investment Act and the Public Funds Collateral, and consent agenda item D as is.
Do I hear a second? Second by Sarah. Any further discussion? Then I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor? Passes 6-0. Moving on to old business. Item number 1, council discussion and possible action. I believe this is regarding the finger piers in navigable waters located in 18500 block of Upper Bay Road, Nassau Bay, Texas. If people know, those are the what was thought to be the homeowners association piers. There was a lot of discussion where each side thought that they owned it. Right now, it's of the opinion both from the homeowners association as well as the city that we want to take over as a city those finger piers and preserve them. I don't know if you have some things that you want to mention.
Well, we've come up with an agreement. They've already signed it, and all we have to do is approve it and sign it, and we will be in charge of the finger piers.
Yeah, correct.
So that's what we should do tonight.
I think it cost us, what, $10?
Something like that.
$10, but we're looking at improving those because that is, for that area, that is where you can get in and out of the water safely. And the homeowners association was not going to keep those going, so we took it over, and the city will make sure those are properly maintained and more than likely going to be expanded. And we need to pass this in order to authorize Paul to be able to sign the contract.
Right.
Any questions, any further?
I'd like to make a motion.
I would love to hear one.
I move that we approve and sign the MOU and bill of sale agreement with the HOA for the procurement of the finger piers at the 18500 block of Upper Bay Road.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Haley. Any other discussion here, folks? Then I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor? Passes 6-0. And just for the citizens, the 18500 block of Upper Bay Road, I believe the 18500, and I may get corrected on that, means you will actually be able to have DoorDash or whatever, deliver food or whatever you want to your boat right at that dock. So we put an actual address to it. So I thought that was a really good idea, and I want to give credit to the people who did that. Next is just a council discussion. This is regarding the agreement between the City of Nassau Bay and owner Dr. Mae Jamison regarding property located at 18410 Kingstown Court, Nassau Bay, Texas, 77058.
And we'll talk about a lot of it in executive session as far as the pending litigation is concerned. But at this point, we've scheduled a final inspection for Wednesday of this week for both the code compliance and the contract compliance of the whole process. We expect, we were there last week, there was some plastic over some of the improvements because they were painting, and that was normal, and we needed to take that plastic back, which is now, I understand it's off, and we'll be able to see whether or not there are any defects that were masked by the plastic. We're having a disagreement over the driveway repair as far as whether it's repair or replacement of the place where it's broken up or the whole thing. We'll have a disagreement about that. There'll be an issue of, she's got her security system hardwired, but has not yet installed the security system, so it's at that stage where the wires are in the wall, but the system itself is not yet installed. The driveway is a big issue, and landscaping may be a discussion, because we don't have a landscape code, and they agreed to landscape, but then we had to get to a question of what is landscaping, so we'll have some fights, we'll have some arguments, but we're moving in that direction. I've asked the lawyer to be here that was handling it for us to be here Wednesday. We'll get final approval, inspection by our consultants, and we'll see where we are with Mrs. Jemison. That's exactly where it is.
I'm glad to see she's moving, but it's not as,
not moving away
I'll
now.
just state it this way, leopards don't change their spots, we figure we're still going to have some arguments.
There'll be some arguments, and we may need to give her some time to do what she needs to do if we have to. But the bottom line is, we've gotten this far, and we're a lot better off than we were a while back. We were in higher completion, but there'll be a discussion of what's substantial compliance and what is technical compliance. We'll have a fight. We'll see where it stands.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions from council? Okay. That was just a discussion, and the next one's a council update. Chief, this is status report regarding installation of security cameras at the city parks and even potentially on the waterways.
So, thank you, Mayor and Council. Bottom line, it's still a work in progress. I think the last council meeting, there was a suggestion that maybe we reach out to the other cities in the area and see what they're doing. So, doing some research with the other cities in the last month, there's no consistency. It's across the board. Some of them are outsourcing to vendors. Some of them are handling it in-house with their IT departments. Some of them are handling it in-house with their police departments. There's one city that has different vendors for different parks within their own city that they're not happy with several of them. So we've been doing some research. We're still talking with Flock. We have some projected numbers from Flock. If we were to put 8 cameras, that would be 4 cameras in the David Braun Park area, 3 basically on the park. We decided if we're going to be putting cameras in down that area, we might as well utilize the time and put some cameras on the wastewater plant. So being it's down there in the park, so that would be the 4th camera down there. 2 cameras for the Howard Ward Park, 1 for Founders Park, and 1 for Swan Lagoon. That would give us an initial cost of $29,000 for the first year, with a reoccurring cost of a little over $25,000 each year after that.
Is that for a contractor doing it?
That's for the Flock system.
Yeah, for the Flock system.
The other thing, we're talking with the city of League City, and which was one of the cities that had the best camera systems that they're doing in their parks and actually across their entire city. And being that was in-house and handled by their IT department, I had to recruit my good friend, Tom George, to get involved, because I know nothing about servers and everything else, but just giving you an idea of 1 camera looking at Swan Lagoon, and this would still require some point-to-point connections through Comcast or PS Lightwave, but this minimum cost is just for the camera and stuff, about $5,800 for 1 camera there if we do it in-house. And there's still some additional costs with possible boring or moving fiber optics and stuff to get the feed to where we need to go. So that's still some things that we have to look at. And one of the issues that we have both with Flock and with if we were to do something in-house, one thing with Flock, that includes storage, cloud storage for the, if we do it in-house, we have to have our own storage. If we do it in-house, we own the equipment. There's no recurring costs year after year unless there's maintenance. Then we have to take care of maintenance. But one of the issues we're having with both sides is determining the coverage that we have for the parks, because if we get the cameras up at a certain height, we have the tree canopies and if we bring the cameras down too low, they're reachable. So we're looking at trying to balance how many cameras do we need to effectively cover the park while the cameras are still safe and not reachable. Obviously, if we have to go a little bit higher, tree canopy is going to require us to put more cameras in. So it's still a work in progress, but we're looking at some possible in-house numbers now.
Do you want a workshop or something like that, or do you think right now you just need a little bit more time to?
No, I think we just need to work with Tom, George, and I don't think we necessarily need a workshop. At this point, it's just trying to figure out.
You're thinking of also
coverage.
looking at the waterways too, if there's opportunity for that?
We can look at that, depending on which system is best to go with. Just depending on, but that's something that we can certainly take into account. But we're still moving forward with it. It's just we went out and reached out to the other.
Again, for the citizens,
cities.
we've had the event where a vehicle was on our basketball court that burned a whole bunch of rubber that was there. We've had the Swan Lagoon vandals. We've had 2 duck feeders twice having been destroyed and stolen money, and then we're without now. And the last was the moon trees. We had a vandalization that looks like it's going to kill one of the moon trees. So we wanted to get some ways that would not be overburdening for the police, just to be able to provide and catch these people who are seems to be accelerating in the vandalism that's occurring in our parks. And the thought was the same with maybe in our waterways. So.
Yeah, other thing we need to, of course, we're going to be dealing with a hurricane, and they would just obliterate whatever cameras we put out there. And is there a way to get? This is tricky, right? Because if you get them so that they're removable, right? Your city is sometimes most vulnerable after a hurricane, so it's kind of like you want them to be up there, but they'd also probably be highly damaged if they were left up there during.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because they usually have protective covers, and there's a lot of.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, blown off.
You never know with hurricane. It depends on the manner in which we have the live feed coming back.
Yeah.
For instance, Flock uses cellular technology with the LPR cameras and to get the camera. So that's perfectly fine. We don't have to worry about wires, cabling. But then if the cell towers aren't working, we don't have them. So,
right.
But if we hardwire them in, and we lose that too. So it's just one of those, living on the coast.
Even as far back as Ike, the TechStop cameras all held up. You could see things of what was going on with evacuation. You could see things when it was coming in Harvey.
They probably just have to be placed carefully out of it.
Yeah, there's a design aspect for that, which is why some of them cost the way they do.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, if we never did things at David Braun Park because of a hurricane, we would never do things at David Braun Park, so, can't live in fear,
What else you got, Chief?
That's it, it's just still a work in progress, and now we're looking at some other things. And
How long do you think you'll be ready to, where you'll have it in kind of more concrete form?
I have no idea. Because we thought we were in, a little bit closer, and then this last month, we reached out and started looking at some of the other cities. So we don't want to push it and miss something.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I was going to say, thank you very much for benchmarking, but quick question. So it sounds like the consensus is that all of the other surrounding cities already have something in place. The majority of them, would you say, already have something?
Yeah, absolutely. The majority of them. I don't know if all of them do, but the majority of them do. But none of them are consistent with,
right.
What they do.
Yeah, what vendor they're using, if they're in-house, if they're going out. So, like I said, one of the cities actually has multiple vendors in their different parks. They're not even consistent across their own city. So, so there's not a perfect model out there for us to, say this is the, consistent model across all the cities. It's completely across the board. So, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? And we keep pushing forward to new business. which is consideration and possible action, the first reading of the ordinance 2025-05-12-1, an ordinance approving the project plan and reinvestment zone financing plan amendment number 1 for the reinvestment zone number 1, City of Nassau Bay, Texas, and containing various provisions related to the foregoing subjects. Again, this is the first reading. So any questions, any modifications? Or hold this over for the second reading? Can I get the consensus? Yep. So we'll hold this over for the second reading, Maria. And then the next is consideration and possible action, resolution number 2025-05-12-3, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nassau Bay, Texas, supporting a no-wake zone in and around Nassau Bay, Clear Lake area on June 20th, 2025 during the Texas Outlaw Challenge. So this is in all areas, including the creek and different things for the Outlaw Challenge, and is that day and that day only. So this is not to be confused with the residential waterways that we have no wake. This is for the Texas Outlaw Challenge that we do every year. Every city does this. So correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. Everybody on the lake passes the same thing. It's what I understand from the Texas Outlaw folks.
They do.
Yep. So, any questions?
The only one I have is in the second whereas in the resolution itself. It says 8:AM. Should it just say 8 a.m. or 8:00, 8 a.m.? Yeah, so, is that, I'm just wondering, does that look okay to everybody? I don't know.
I actually think it should be it should be either zeros or without to be consistent. You see where that is?
Yeah, it's also in the third.
Any particular one that fancies you there, Councilman Waterwall, with or without?
I would have the with, the zeros.
Then yeah, so colon 20.
I'm so sorry.
That's all right. You're good. You're the man who's got the detail. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Other than that, one change, I would move to approve the resolution number R 2025-05-12-3, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Nassau Bay, Texas, supporting a no-wake zone in and around the Nassau Bay Clear Lake area on June 20th, 2025, during the Texas Outlaw Challenge.
Do I hear a second? Yep, second by Ashley. Any other comments or questions? Then I call for the vote. All those in favor? Passes 6-0. Counselor, you're up here again. So
One more time.
One more time. The council update. This is the city attorney 89th legislative update regarding city-related bills.
And bear in mind, they're not through yet, so this is a snapshot in time of a legislative process. But they have published an update that I've brought you a copy of, every member of council. And I'm just going to give you some highlights because it's got more detail than you'll ever want to see. But whatever might interest you, you dig down in like it's AI or Grok or something like that. The more questions you ask, the deeper you go into them. First of all, House Bill 19 is a terrible bill. It effectively prohibits certificates of obligation, and it's far-reaching. So that particular bill should be paid attention to. There's a 5-year waiting period for if a bond election fails. That's not currently the law. All bond elections are, one bill has all bond elections being in November only, so then no more uniform election date except November. Another bill eliminates the May election date altogether. Another bill prohibits city funding for lobbyists, so you can't hire a lobbyist to go speak your piece with the legislature. Under the open meeting law, right now, we have a posting on Friday for a meeting on Monday. There's a new bill to require 3 business days for any meeting posting, so that would eliminate the Friday postings.
Can I just stop you because I want to go back because I want to highlight something that really is impactful to the city. This restricting of the certificate of obligations is basically the format that we use to raise funds, raise debt. We don't do bonds. The city actually uses this extensively. And when you look at our strategy that's been in the budget, when you stretch it over for the standpoint of what I'm going to say is the ladder truck, we've been adding to our war chest a little bit every year, but it was based off the assumption that we were going to renegotiate the tail end of 3 and to be able to create the funds to purchase it. Tom and the fire department's done a great job locking down, getting the purchase order and putting things in. But we want to make sure that we have the ability to use certificate of obligations. That is the most inexpensive way for us to raise those funds. And it will, if this is restricted, which is one of the things we're going to talk about in June, is whether we have to take action to protect the ability for us to do, to get that ladder truck for raising or reorganizing that debt. But that's a real constraint that we're going to have to deal with to make sure that we get the equipment necessary to operate our volunteer fire department.
And on June 27th, they'll have a final legislative update through TML. I go to that every year, and I'm signed up to go this time. So we'll have the final version of this, but this is the snapshot for right now. One, I know you have an opinion about too, Mayor, is the accessory buildings, like a mother-in-law unit, where they'll be exempt from regulation, even the setback regulation. You had some feelings about that, I think, didn't you?
Well, yeah, so right now, we have only the ability for the house and a detached garage. This would allow somebody to put a third structure in their yards, and we would have no oversight as to how that would be done. So it's basically looking at increasing the density of populations as a way to bring down housing costs.
And speaking of density, a lot of their statutes have thresholds of minimum population that don't affect us because they're for bigger cities, but one of them allows, where we have to allow a mixed use or multifamily use if the property is religiously owned. So if the Baptist church decides to put a house out back, we're not going to be able to do anything about it, or our apartment. Super preemption is something that happened in last session. That's where the state preempts an area and says, you can't touch it, cities, because we've already preempted the field. That's drawn some litigation from cities, and that's still going on, but they're now expanding it again under a bill that there's up there to add more codes that will be affected by it, where if you've liked hers, and it's one of them. And it has a provision in it that you'd be stripped of your sovereign immunity defense if you had a lawsuit against you. They'd be allowed to seek attorney's fees, and it would authorize the Attorney General to sue the city, and empowers the state to suspend our payment of our sales tax that would be due as an account receivable, where they could withhold our sales tax if we have expanded into a preempted field. That's a very dangerous bill. HUD manufactured homes must be allowed in at least one zone in the city, according to one bill. Permits after disaster, that's where the owner of a storm-damaged home can start to repair before he has to get a permit. That's subject to some mischief. And then the nuisance and environmental lawsuits by cities are one way that we control things that aren't covered by statute. The county enforcement powers are almost all based on nuisance and environmental lawsuits. These are preempted under a bill that, as far as the city's right to use them. That's sort of an overview of what's there. I mean, there's a lot more in it, but I just wanted you to have some highlights.
Basic theme is this preemption. They're taking the authority of local governments away and saying that a one standard across the state.
And if the state steps into it, we have to stay out of it. That's really what it amounts to.
Unless we can do the things to protect ourselves now.
Yeah, right. That's it in a nutshell. And there's more if you want to look at it.
Any questions, particularly from the lawyers?
And we'll do it again after, we'll do it after June 27th when it's final also.
Legislative update? And I'm going to keep pushing forward. The next two, I'm going to just ask to have those tabled. Jaime's not here, and Paul's not here. Both have the stomach flu. So if I could have a motion to just table those two.
Move to table new business items 4 and 5.
Do I hear a second? All in favor? 6-0. And then, last item before going into executive session is council input and discussion around a possible workshop to discuss committees, boards, and commissions. This was meant to discuss the ethics policy and conduct. And it was to set up, and Lucy, this was yours, so I'll let you kind of.
Yep, so we have passed previously an ethics policy and conduct for committee members, and what this would do would be to allow us to decide how we're going to enforce violations of that, what the reporting process would be, how you would submit an official complaint against a committee member or anybody, we can cover all of them, but then what that process would be, how we figure out the path forward once someone files a complaint against somebody.
But the agenda item is a workshop.
Correct.
It is,
We're not. It's a workshop to discuss boards and committees and.
I'll chime in here because because staff is, when you have a committee member or a volunteer, I think staff looks at these committees as reporting to council, so rather than having city staff do the disciplinary action that we'd actually put in the conduct of what would happen.
And Maria had sent all of us, after the last meeting, I believe it was, maybe 2 meetings ago, a proposal for this, but what we really need to do is everyone read that and think of what makes sense for this council and this city on how we want to handle that. And that would be a topic of discussion at the workshop.
At the workshop.
At the workshop. So timing, what are you looking at?
I don't know, I do think there's some advantage to having it sooner rather than later in case we have other questions or concerns with the new process that we have for
Let me say it this way,
committees?
from what I've talked to May's pretty shot.
Okay.
Because of school
Everything,
coming
yeah.
out, people doing vacation. I think you're going to find it difficult. So I'm assuming it's sometime in the June timeframe.
No issue with that, and I think that still aligns with when we're putting things out and when we're gonna,
Do
if we
people
want to
have
have
their-
other topics to
people have
discuss
their
with respect
calendars?
to boards and commissions.
Just to help here.
I'm out June 9th through the 13th.
About that next week.
What about the week of June 23?
I'm out that week too, sorry.
You out both weeks?
What about early June?
Yeah, what about early June? June 2nd. I'm out the 2nd and the 3rd, but I can do 4th, 5th, or 6th.
Yeah, I
A
can do it.
preference?
Yeah, not
Not
Friday.
Friday, so 4th or 5th?
Yeah, let's shoot for the 4th.
Brian, you'll be involved here too. Speak up if you want to do the 5th?
We have the 10 and under Naughty Cat social on the 4th,
Oh.
but I also have a kid that would qualify for the social the next night, so it doesn't really matter. I'll just put Alex in duty. He'll be fine,
Okay.
I
Thanks
think.
for checking that calendar.
Yeah, it's okay. I wrote
Yeah.
Naughty Cat stuff all over my
The
calendar.
only thing, I don't think if it's in the evening it will be there, but I know there's the Gloria Day event where I guess they've got a grand conclave coming in or something.
Is that
for
the
their-
4th?
That's the 5th.
Okay,
But I don't think it's in the evening.
we can do the 4th. I think that'll work. It's 6 to 8, but they're all at the pool, so it's fine. Alex can take them.
The other would be to do, I don't want to, otherwise we push it out to July.
Let's do
No,
the
I
4th.
think, let's do the
Let's
4th.
do the 4th? Okay. Where are you?
What time?
6 o'clock?
6 PM? Okay.
Sounds good.
Or do you want it earlier, like 5, so you can go to the social?
It's hard for you, isn't it, to get from downtown?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay.
Got
Do
it.
your homework.
Will
Yep.
do.
Alrighty.
We are also, I
Do you need a
think,
motion here?
No, set your work.
Yeah, it's just a set, so we set the date.
a part of that is Maria is also looking at other cities and what they do, right? That's a part of what she sent, I suppose, already?
It's
It is.
yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
she's already got that, yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, that leaves executive session, so the city council will now hold a closed executive meeting pursuant to the provision of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate regarding economic development negotiations. Number 2, Section 551.071 of Texas Government Code, consultation with city attorney regarding consultation with attorney on potential or pending litigation regarding Tracy Sullivan or any other matter allowing under Section 551.071 RE litigation, pending or potential litigation, including litigation pending by the city with Mae Jamison in Harris County, Texas, and litigation threatened by the city with Frank Zamarin and wife Patricia Zamarin regarding a contract pertaining to 18234 Nassau Bay Drive, and pending or potential legal litigation pertaining to Microtel. It is 8:27, beat the 8:30. Yep, all right. We are coming back into open session. It is 9:02. Do I hear a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by Chase, seconded by Ashley. All those in favor? 6-0. We're done. Well, we did in there.